Are you tired of having unstructured Netstat data? Are you tired of having elevated privileges when you need to run Netstat? Well, let me show you this. Netstat in JSON. You want to know how this is done? Continue watching, man. Hey, welcome back. Have you ever gotten an alert, or you're looking through logs and you just find something that smells kind of fishy, right? Like a dirty sock, and you start to track it down, and you finally get to the station where exhibiting the problem, but that traffic kind of goes away, right? And you run packet captures, you play with Netstat, right? So let's say you're on that box, right? And you're thinking something's happening to this box. You don't know if something's in there. And so you run like Netstat, right? Netstat B, thinking, awesome, hey, you know, maybe I'll write a bash script around that, or a batch file around that and have it scheduled. It comes up with like operation requires elevations. Crap. Okay, well, yeah, we can elevate those rights and do that stuff, but at the end of the day, you know, you end up, or at least in my opinion, right, you end up doing so many workarounds, and that data is still kind of unstructured, you know, and it gets frustrating, because like let's do an example, right? So let's bring up another one. All right, another command window, and this is elevated, right? So let's do like netstat b, right? Because I wanted to get the application, right? The application name that's causing that traffic. But you have to be elevated. And in my opinion, you have to screen scrape this, right? This data is not structured. And so I was chasing this rabbit, right? And I finally got to the station that I thought the traffic was coming from. And it smelled kind of fishy, right? It was a stinky sock, and I just needed to verify if it was a valid application, right? Or if the app was brought in unknowingly, like you installed something and it just like bad installer, you know, malware or potentially unwanted application was there. Didn't quite know, and so finally got to it. Finally, you know, wanting to run some commands, and Netstat needed elevation, and it just like, you know, and it was unstructured. Oh, bloody hell, what are we going to do? Well, you know, this kind of got me thinking, God, it would be nice if Netstat was structured so I could run this, right? Have it on a timer, you know, on a schedule. Let's say every second, right? I want you to dump, right, the Netstat connection. Give me everything. Give me who owns this process, right? But give me in a structured environment, so then I could do something with it, right? I can pump it back into another program and filter out that noise, right? Get what I want now, you know? And so I was like, God, why isn't Netstat like that? You know, this is like 2023. You know, give me something that I can use. I don't have a lot of time. I really don't want to parse through pages and pages of meaningless stuff. You know, help me help you, right? Come on, guys. So this is just a small framework that started to add on in a personal call it toolbox, right? And I kind of wanted to give it to you guys so you can play with it and get better at it. So let me show you, right? Where is it? All right. So right now, it just basically did a Netstat, right, for TCP, and it dumped the information that it knows, but it wrapped it in JSON, right, that JavaScript Object Notation. So, given us some structure to work with, right? So here's the dump of that Netstat, basically. But it gives it to you in an object, right? So you could bring this back into a parser or something that you create, maybe Python, and you're able to parse it to say, hey, I know what MS Edge is. I'm not concerned about that AXE. So give me everything that is not MS Edge. Just kind of giving you that leverage to immediately cut through that noise, that white noise, and get to the meat of what's going on, right? And so I'll put the link of it in the description here, but just kind of bring it up real quick, right? What I would recommend, is to set a breakpoint and just walk through it, because mainly what it's going to do is to call a DLL. And that DLL is basically the IP helper API. And there's some places that you can go to get more information. And I've tried throughout this to drop hints on where you can go to get more information. Because right now, all this does is TCP. There is no UDP information, so it's just basically TCP. But if you want to extend on it, pull it down, right? Play with it, and put in the UDP structure, right? Put in that code that needs to happen for UDP, right? And so where I'm going with this is that I put in links in there everywhere I thought it might help in where you can go to get more information, right? So here's pinvoke. If you're not familiar with pinvoke, it is an awesome resource for people trying to learn more about under the hood of Windows and what APIs are potentially available, and how you can leverage them. So if we open up pinvoke, right, and here is that function, right, of the IP helper API. I'm using the get extended TCP table, right, and it shows you how to make that call, right, and lots of times it will give you a boilerplate code to put in and start playing with it, right? How cool is that? So take this, explore it, right? Have fun with it, and I hope this tool or this code helps develop more tools in your belt, right? Because the more tools that we have to apply to the problem, the better that we're going to be, right? So real quick, if we jump back to this, right? So we got a breakpoint, right? Set, and just hit run, right? And if you're not familiar with this, like C# or Visual Studio IDE, set breakpoints, and walk through getting the information. It's kind of cool, right? So if we looked at, like, we can set another breakpoint, right? So here, I'll set a breakpoint right there. Start it up. Sometimes I get talking and I forget where I'm at, what I'm doing, type of thing. And so let me change this. Let me start to actually debug it. And we can start walking through the code, right? So we got a breakpoint at the console.write line. And by no means am I saying that this is the awesome sauce of all coding. No, this is not my doctrine, right? I know enough to be dangerous, right? And so we're going to start walking through this function, right? And as you walk through, you can see what's happening behind the scenes, right? So if you just created a list, right, of packet, well, what's packet, right? And this is extracted from a larger application, so some of it might not make sense in the context of packet. Well, we're not talking necessarily Netstat and packet. So just remember that this is a part of a larger application. So some of the variables or classes might not make sense in the context that it's here, but giving you the opportunity to walk through this, I thought it might be beneficial. So have fun with it, walk through it, play with it, enjoy, man. And don't forget to hit that subscribe, do the like, tap that bell if you want any future notifications. And if you have any ideas, right, put them in the comments. Thank you, man. Take it easy.